dabbing tears. The gents were looking right misty as well they should. Colin Eversea was the most entertaining reprobate the Everseas had produced in decades, one of Ned's best customers, and the gallows would deprive Pennyroyal Green of him in a mere few hours' time. Suddenly, a pleasant-faced gentleman in a many-caped coat, an innocent stranger who'd wandered in before the rest of the crowd and consented to try the dark ale, made a mistake. He leaned across to Francis Cook at the chessboard and said, "I beg your pardon, sir, but am I to understand that Colin Eversea, the Satan of Sussex, hails from this town?" Culpepper sighed extravagantly, slowly pushed his chair back from the chessboard, crossed his arms and gazed up at the beamed ceiling. "New to Pennyroyal Green, are you, son?" Francis Cook's voice was mild, but he'd raised it just a little. A singular, strong voice Francis Cook had. Some might even call it a portentous voice. The vigorous debating in the pub tapered rapidly into a hush. Everyone knew what was about to happen. "Yes, sir," the oblivious stranger told him brightly. "I was passing through on the way to Brighton when my horse threw a shoe. They are taking care of me at the blacksmith. I'm Mr. William Jones." "'Tis pleased I am to meet you, Mr. Jones." Francis Cook thrust out his hand to be shaken by Mr. Jones. Francis Cook was tall and lean, and bowed like a sapling confronting a strong wind. His hair was sparse, his grey brows so furry and alert they might have passed for pets. And spectacles gripped the tip of the nose reminiscent of the time Rome ruled Britannia. He knew things, Francis Cook did. He knew the story behind the names etched into every tilting marker in Pennyroyal Green's graveyard. He knew where the stones used to build their church had been quarried, and that the foundation of it had been built over a druid temple. He knew the wood in the old table beneath his elbows came from Ashdown Forest. Francis Cook wasn't bashful about telling what he knew, either. "Ah, very good. Well, 'tis an interesting story, the story of Colin Eversea, and to tell it properly, we need to go back to the time of the Conqueror. Good heavens, as far back as that?" Mr. Jones was humouring Mr. Cook. Mr. Cook gazed at him long enough to make Mr. Jones' fingers twitch just a little nervously on his tankard of ale. "I wonder, Mr. Jones, if you happened to see a pair of oak trees growing very close together in the square as you rode into town?" he asked gently. "I did, at that. 2 very grand trees. Pretty town you have here." Cook nodded, as if this went without saying. "Mr. Jones, those oak trees were mere saplings when William the Conqueror set foot on English shores, and over the centuries their roots have grown so twisted together that they now battle each other for space and depend on each other to remain upright. And this—" Francis Cook leaned forward a little, and every person in the pub reflexively leaned a little toward him, as if blown there by a breeze, and Francis Cook's voice took on the stentorian resonance of the practised bard. "This, my friend, is a rather apt metaphor for the Everseas and Redmonds, for their families have anchored Pennyroyal Green since before this town had a name, since before the Conqueror set foot on these shores, and ancient grudges and secrets bind them fast and curse them to this day." The stranger, despite himself, was enthralled into a short silence. "Good heavens," he finally managed faintly. "Secrets and grudges? What manner of secrets and grudges?" Everyone in the pub seemed quite pleased with the effect of the story on the visitor. Relative silence. There was the sound of sipping, which pleased Ned Hawthorne, and reflection ensued. "Well, they would not be secrets if we all knew them, would they, sir? But some say the bad feelings began when the first Saxon, a Redmond, cleaved the first Normans, an Everseas skull, back in 1066 or so. The Redmonds, on the other hand, have it that it began even earlier, back before Rome ruled Britannia, back when all of our ancestors wore skins for clothes. They say an Eversea stole a Redmond cow." This surprised a short, nervous laugh from Mr. Jones. "Well, then, was anything ever proved in the matter of the cow?" "Nothing is ever proved when it comes to the Everseas," someone groused from the back of the crowd, to a rustle of